look at you for a second. No, don't move. Just feel that pressure in the air. That's the sound of an entire room realizing they underestimated the wrong creature because the moment they figured out you're a genius, something inside them collapsed. Their identity, their self-worth, their entire "I'm smarter than you" safety blanket, all gone, evaporated like it never mattered. And you're standing there, not even trying, not even flexing, not even showcasing the full architecture of that dangerous mind of yours. Yet they're glitching like a corrupted operating system, watching its own replacement load in real time. You know what fascinates me? Not that you're brilliant. I knew that from the moment you walked in, like someone who carries the blueprint of a forgotten bloodline. No. What fascinates me is how fragile the world becomes the second you stop dimming yourself. It's almost poetic. They lived their whole lives believing intelligence was a hierarchy, a ladder, a scoreboard. But you show up with that angel-demon paradox, that quiet saint energy wrapped around a monster-level pattern recognition system. And suddenly the hierarchy melts into fear they can't articulate. Oh, the look on their faces, that look that screams, "How long has he been this smart? How much has he seen? What does he know about me?" You didn't expose them. They exposed themselves the moment they realized your mind is a knife and their ego is a soap bubble. And now they're spiraling. See, that's the part you never understood about being the smartest one in the room. It's not the answers you give. It's the questions you silently force people to ask about themselves. You speak once, just once, and their whole personality kit gets knocked off the table like a deck of cards, spilling onto the floor. They thought you were quiet because you were clueless. They thought you were humble because you were harmless. They thought you were observing because you had nothing to add. But you were the storm behind the glass, the wolf in a library, the angel who learned calculus in reverse, and the demon who memorized human nature through trauma. You weren't quiet. You were calculating. You weren't humble. You were loading. You weren't clueless. You were watching the chessboard freeze before you moved one single piece. And when you finally spoke, when you finally peeled one layer off that mind, they felt their whole smartest-in-the-group personality dissolve like sugar dropped into boiling water, because here's a dirty little secret they'll never admit. Most people don't hate you for being intelligent. They hate you because your intelligence reveals how little they understand themselves. And you didn't even do anything dramatic, no fireworks, no theatrics, just a single moment of clarity from you. And their ego cracked like glass under pressure. Unpredictability. That's your real weapon. They can't map you. They can't predict you. They can't categorize you under their tiny, fragile labels because you're the paradox they hope never shows up at their door. Light enough to heal dark enough to survive. Smart enough to understand everything. Dangerous enough to say nothing. And now that they've figured out what you really are, now they're terrified. They're replaying every conversation, every glance, every joke you laughed at, every moment they thought they were above you, because they finally realize you weren't beside them, you weren't behind them. You were beyond them, walking quietly, thinking violently, a saint with a scalpel, a demon with a diary, a genius with trauma lines etched into the architecture of your soul. You didn't become smart. You remembered what you are, a weapon forged in silence, a scholar born from chaos, a strategist shaped by pain so deep it rewired the circuitry of your perception. And now they're panicking Because when a genius finally stops pretending, the world stops breathing. Look at their faces. Really look. Those aren't expressions of admiration. Those are expressions of self-recognition. The moment they see, painfully, that they were never competing with you. They were competing with a version of you that didn't even exist anymore. You are the riddle they can't solve, the pattern they can't break, the mirror they're terrified to stand in front of. And the funniest part? You still haven't shown them everything, not the depth, not the range, not the brutality of perception that sits behind your eyes. They've only seen the surface, and their personality still fell apart on the spot. Imagine. Just imagine. What happens when you finally decide to unleash the full force of the mind? They spent their whole lives pretending doesn't exist. Go on. Show them what happens when a genius stops apologizing for existing. You feel it, don't you? That subtle shift in the atmosphere, the way the room bends around you now, like everyone's trying not to make sudden movements, like they're afraid that if they breathe wrong, you'll notice something they've been hiding. Because once people realize you're a genius, they don't see you as smart anymore. They see you as dangerous, and that's the part they'll never say out loud. They don't fear your mind because it's brilliant. They fear it because it's awake. Awake in a world where most people are emotionally sedated, mentally tranquilized, spiritually sleepwalking through patterns they never question. You questioned everything. You questioned the narrative. You questioned the system. You questioned them. And the second they realized they couldn't lie to you, couldn't manipulate you, couldn't impress you with their shallow little intellectual performances, their souls shivered, and you saw it, didn't you? The way their eyes changed, the way their smiles tightened, the way their posture collapsed just a little. Like their entire personality had been held together by the belief that they were the smartest one in the room. And then you spoke. Just one sentence, one observation, one flash of clarity that cut through their delusion like a scalpel slicing open a corpse. You didn't even mean to destroy them. You were just being accurate. But accuracy is lethal to people built on insecurity. And suddenly the confident, well-adjusted, I have it all figured out persona they wore like armor started to crumble into dust because what they saw in you wasn't just intelligence. It was perception, the kind of perception that comes from walking through hell with your eyes open, the kind of perception that can't be taught, can't be imitated, can't be faked. Genius reshaped by trauma is a different species altogether. You're not just smart, you're pattern fluent. You see motives before they speak them. You sense weaknesses before they admit them. You understand dynamics before anyone else realizes a game was even being played. People hate that. They hate when someone sees them without their mask. They hate when someone understands them without their performance. They hate when someone like you walks in with the aura of an angel, but the eyes of a demon who's already calculated every outcome, and so their personalities collapse, because their egos were built on comparison, competition, constant evaluation. But how do you compete with someone who isn't even playing the same game? How do you outsmart someone who doesn't measure intelligence by trivia, or degrees, or loud opinions, but by awareness? Awareness breaks people. Awareness strips them down to who they actually are, not who they pretend to be. And that's why they panicked, because in that moment, they realized you see them, not the curated version, not the polished persona, not the character they audition for the world every day. You see the real them, the insecure them, the jealous them, The fragile them who's terrified you'll expose them. And the irony? You weren't planning to expose anyone. You weren't even thinking about them. You were just living your truth. Quiet, composed, deadly without effort. And that scares people far more than any threat. It's the paradox of you. You don't need to act superior. You are superior. Not in arrogance, but in awareness, in depth, in discipline, in the sheer weight of experiences that would have broken anyone else into dust. You're not just light. You're not just dark. You're not just good. You're not just dangerous. You're the convergence of everything they're afraid to explore within themselves. A saint with a scarred halo, a demon with a moral compass forged in fire, an angel who learned to smile through betrayal, a monster who learned to heal without bitterness. You are every contradiction they've spent their whole lives running from. And now they have to face the possibility that the quiet one, the underestimated one, the one they thought they understood, is actually the one rewriting the entire room's dynamic without saying a word. They can't predict you. They can't categorize you. They can't control the narrative anymore. Because the moment they realized your mind stretches beyond their imagination, their entire identity snapped like a brittle bone. And here's the part you still haven't processed. They haven't even seen your final form. This is the intro. This is the preview. The surface. The edge of the iceberg before the ocean floor drops off into black, uncharted depths they're not built to navigate. But you were born for the depths. You evolved in the dark. You adapted in the silence. You mastered every corner of your mind while they were chasing validation. That's why their personalities fell apart. Not because you're smart, but because you are everything they pretend to be, and everything they're terrified to become. Now watch them closely. Watch how they shift. Watch how they speak carefully around you. Watch how they avoid eye contact, or overshare, or suddenly act overly nice, or try to prove something that's not respect. That's fear wearing politeness as a disguise. And the funniest part? You still haven't decided whether to show them how deep your genius really goes. So go on. Let them tremble. Let them adjust. Let them scramble to rebuild the persona you effortlessly dismantled with a single moment of clarity. You didn't destroy them. They destroyed themselves the moment they realized you were never the one who needed validation. You were the one who held the mirror. You feel that shift crawling up your spine. Good, because we're just getting started. See, when people discover you're a genius, it's not a compliment to them. It's an extinction event, a psychological wipeout, a quiet apocalypse, a silent alarm going off in their skulls, telling them that everything they believed about themselves was built on rotten foundations. And the worst part? It wasn't even your fault. You didn't walk in bragging. You didn't flaunt. You didn't present yourself like some prodigy with a spotlight overhead. You walked in with humility, the kind that comes from surviving things they wouldn't last 5 minutes in. You didn't ask for attention. You asked for nothing, and nothing scares insecure people more than someone who doesn't need a damn thing from them. Because how do you manipulate someone who's self-sufficient? How do you belittle someone who doesn't crave your approval? How do you compete with someone who isn't even in the competition? Your silence alone is a dismantling force. Your presence alone forces introspection. Your existence alone makes people realize how small they've been thinking. And that's why their personalities cracked. They weren't just shocked that they were unmade, because in their minds, you were supposed to play a certain role. Quiet, harmless, predictable, manageable. But then you opened your mouth and revealed a level of perception that sliced right through their ego armor. like a scalpel dipped in truth. You saw inconsistencies they thought were invisible. You understood dynamics they thought were hidden. You caught lies they thought were clever. You read intentions they barely understood themselves. And that's when everything collapsed. Because genius isn't just intelligence. It's vision. It's clarity. It's the ability to see the architecture of human beings while they're still fumbling around looking for the blueprint. You saw the whole blueprint the moment you walked in. That's why people look at you differently now. That's why they choose their words with surgical caution. That's why their laughter sounds a little too forced, a little too delayed, a little too rehearsed, because they know you can see right through them. Every insecurity, every motive, every hidden agenda, every weakness disguised as confidence. You read them like a crime scene report, and they hate that. They hate that your mind doesn't just think. It scans, it analyzes, it detects, it absorbs, it decodes. They hate that you can take one sentence they say and instantly understand the childhood wound behind it. They hate that your trauma didn't break you. It sharpened you. It crystallized your intuition. It weaponized your silence. And now, they're terrified because they don't know what you know. They don't know what you figured out. They don't know how much you've noticed. They don't know how far your mind reaches or how deep your perception sinks into the cracks they desperately try to hide. And here's the real nightmare for them. You're not even trying yet. This isn't you showing off. This isn't you flexing. This is you existing casually, effortlessly, accidentally threatening their entire worldview. Because your intelligence isn't loud. It's quiet. It's still. It's controlled. And controlled intelligence is the most terrifying kind. Anyone can shout. Anyone can argue. Anyone can pretend to know something, but you. You speak once and everyone's mind scrambles like prey, hearing a twig snap in the forest. You look at someone and their heartbeat stutters because they feel like you're reading the story behind the body. You tilt your head slightly, and suddenly they're revisiting every lie they ever told you, wondering which ones you caught and which ones you let slide. And the paranoia? Oh, that's the best part. They think your genius is limited to knowledge or logic or analysis. But what they really fear is that your genius extends into their psychology. They fear you know things you shouldn't know. They fear you see things they never said. They fear you understand things they haven't even admitted to themselves. And here's the twist. You do. Because you're not smart in the way they measure intelligence. You're smart in the way gods measure evolution. Your intelligence is intuitive, spiritual, primal, pain-forged, experience-coded, pattern-infused. It's the kind of genius that makes empires nervous and individuals insecure. And the second they realized that, the second they saw the depth behind your eyes, their whole personality shattered. Because how do you pretend in front of someone who sees the truth? How do you perform for someone who already knows the ending? How do you maintain a persona in front of someone who has outgrown the need for one? You can't. And that's why they fell apart. They weren't reacting to your intelligence. They were reacting to their own reflection in the mirror you unknowingly held up, a mirror sharper than honesty. A mirror colder than truth. A mirror that says, I see you, all of you, and I'm not impressed. Go on. Keep walking through their world like a paradox in motion. Too quiet to predict, too deep to comprehend, too aware to manipulate, too evolved to intimidate. Watch how the world rearranges itself around you. Watch how their egos glitch, their voices tremble, their conversations stutter. You didn't just shake their confidence. You rewrote the entire gravitational field of the room. And the funniest part? You did it by accident. Funny, isn't it? How a single moment, one sentence, one glance, one flicker of awareness behind your eyes can make an entire room realize they've been misjudging a phenomenon as if you were just another person passing by. But you're not a person in their story. You're the plot twist. You're the unexpected variable. You're the quiet anomaly that forces a system reboot the moment it gets detected. And now that they've seen it, now that they've felt it in their bones, your intelligence, your intuition, your mind that doesn't just think but dissects, they can't return to who they were before. Because there's something irreversible about discovering the smartest one was the quiet one, the one they overlooked, the one they assumed was naive, the one they thought was nice, simple, non-threatening. And suddenly, that person is the one who sees through them with surgical precision. It fractures them from the inside out. Their personality wasn't built on truth. It was built on the belief that they could fool the world, and you were supposed to be the easiest one to fool. Oh, it kills them inside. Because when you're the genius, you don't get angry, you don't get loud, you don't get messy, you get accurate, and accuracy is lethal. You're not just intelligent. You're observational. You catch the twitch in their eyebrow when they lie. You hear the hesitation in their voice when they hide something. You feel the micro shift in their energy when they become insecure. You sense things they don't even have vocabulary for, and that terrifies them because your intelligence isn't about IQ. It's about perception sharpened by pain. Trauma-trained awareness, experience-coded pattern recognition. You didn't learn this in books. You learned this in battles where reading people was the difference between being hurt and surviving. You're not intelligent the way scholars are. You're intelligent the way weapons are. Precision, silence, calm pressure, efficiency, stillness before impact. You're the hurricane that looks like still water until it moves. And the moment they realized that, their fake confidence disintegrated. Because deep down, they know they've been performing. They know they've been pretending. They know they've been constructing identities like cheap stage props. But your presence dissolves illusions. You don't expose them, you simply exist, and their mask falls off on its own. You ever notice it? How once you reveal even a fragment of your intelligence, people start oversharing or over-explaining or overcompensating. That's fear. Fear dressed up as friendliness. Fear disguised as clarity. Fear pretending to be confidence. They're trying to get ahead of whatever you might see next. Trying to control a narrative you already decoded 3 steps ago. Trying to hide weakness from someone who sees weakness like a blood trail in the snow. You are the paradox they can't solve. You look calm, but you think violently. You look humble, but you calculate everything. You look soft, but you're forged from emotional steel. You look peaceful, but your mind carries the scars of 10 lifetimes worth of storms. You're not one person. You're a collision of contradictions. Light that survived darkness. Darkness that learned compassion. Wisdom wrapped around instinct. Innocence welded to brutality. And no personality built on insecurity can survive standing next to that. That's why they crumble, because in you, they see what they could have been if they didn't run from their pain, if they didn't hide behind ego, if they didn't cling to their identity like a child clutching a broken toy. You evolved while they rehearsed. You grew while they pretended. You healed while they hid. You transformed while they stagnated. And now they have to face the truth. standing next to you, exposes every corner of themselves they've been terrified to look at. You didn't just make them feel less smart. You made them realize they've been lying to themselves. Look at you, standing there like the last page of a book that refused to end. Listen closely. No, feel this. Because what I'm about to say isn't a warning. It's the autopsy report of every force that tried to cage you. You feel that chill? That's the universe bracing itself. Because you came back into the room. Tell me, who the fuck was supposed to stop you? Because every time they pressed a finger to your neck to check for a pulse, you moved. Not like a human, not like a saint, not like a monster, but like something that didn't learn to survive, something that invented survival and hid the blueprints. Let me paint this slow. The prophecy, the one written before your ancestors knew how to whisper. It tried to contain you, tried to chart you, tried to predict you. And somewhere between verse 13 and 14, it gave up. It didn't fail. It surrendered because you don't walk a timeline. You bend it, snap it, fold it into origami and toss it off a cliff just to see how long it glides. You unnerved fate itself. You know what the scholars said, the hidden ones, the ones who pretend to disagree in public but prey to your unpredictability in private. They whispered, if we can't forecast him, then he isn't a variable, he's the rupture. A rupture, a glitch, a paradox in human form, a creature whose chaos is so precise it imitates destiny. And oh, how they hate that. Hate the fact that you didn't break the script. No. You overwrote it. With bare hands, heavy breath, and a grin that said, try again. Remember the ones who said you weren't ready? That you were too unstable, too emotional, too inconsistent. Too you. They fled. Not because you proved them wrong, but because you made them irrelevant. Let me remind you of something terrifying. You didn't grow. You mutated. Every piece of pain, every betrayal, every night you swallowed your own silence because you had nowhere to bleed. It stitched itself into a new creature, a creature the old version of you wouldn't recognize, a creature your enemies can't classify, a creature your past self would kneel before duality, angel or demon, light or dark, saint or psychopath. You're all of them and none of them. You are the equation that balances itself only through destruction. You want to know what prophecy killers look like? Not warriors, not kings, not monsters, outliers. Those who step so far outside the line that the line redraws itself to stay relevant. That's you. They thought your unpredictability was a weakness until they realized it was your weapon. They thought your silence meant defeat. Until your next move detonated their strategy. They thought your heart was too soft. Until it calcified into instinct and precision. They thought your wounds were open, not knowing you sharpened your bones on them. Tell me again, who was supposed to stop you? The friend who betrayed you. You swallowed them whole. The enemy who stalked you. You rewired their fear, the world that mocked you. You turned its laughter into fuel. Fate, you outran it. God, he stepped aside. You know why nothing worked against you? Because you don't fit in the categories they use to contain mortals. You think like a ghost, move like a shadow, strike like a prophecy that woke up with free will. You're not chosen, you're not fated, you're not anointed. You're the one the prophecy forgot to warn them about. And that's why they're spiraling. They can't strategize around someone who doesn't operate on logic. They can't defend against someone who doesn't repeat patterns. They can't defeat someone whose evolution triggers every time they attack. Your enemies never understood the horror of you. They kept asking, what makes him dangerous? Never realizing the real question was, what makes him unstoppable? And the answer is simple. You don't break. You pivot. You don't retreat. You reconfigure. You don't lose. You transform the battlefield. You are the walking contradiction of existence, the miracle and the massacre, the cure and the contamination, the holy thing wrapped in unholy hunger. And the prophecy, the one that tried to map you, measure you, tame you, it ended on one final line. If he appears, we step aside. So I'll ask you again, slowly this time, who the fuck was supposed to stop you? Because every force that tried is now buried under the weight of the version of you that wasn't supposed to exist, and yet, here you are, smiling, breathing, evolving, ascending, a prophecy breaker, a timeline shifter, a threat to inevitability, a walking, whispering, grinning end of chapter. Look at that expression on your face, that tension, that electricity humming under your skin like a warning alarm only the gifted can hear good. Because we're not done, not even close. You think a prophecy giving up on you is the climax? No. That was the prologue to what you're becoming. Let me lean in. Let me scrape the truth against your bones. Because I want you to feel what the world is finally realizing. You weren't born to fit inside their predictions. You were born to shred them. Look back for a moment. Do you see it? The pattern? Every time they thought you were finished, you changed form. Not metaphorically. No, that's too soft. You shed an entire identity like a serpent, peeling off the version that no longer served it. And that metamorphosis, it scared the absolute hell out of them. Because people can fight a person. They can resist a plan. They can counter a strategy. But a creature that keeps becoming something else every time it's cornered? That's hopeless. You didn't rise above. You slipped sideways, bent the rules, rewrote the variables, and crawled out of the trap as a version of yourself they didn't prepare. For you want to know why no one could stop you. Because while they trained to fight who you were busy becoming someone they could never predict. And unpredictability is the last thing a controlled world knows how to handle. Think about the fear you generate, the raw, animal panic that flashes in their eyes when you enter the room. It's not your strength, it's not your intelligence, it's not your talent, it's your trajectory. Because everyone else moves in straight lines. And you move like a phenomenon, crooked, divine, unexplainable. You are chaos, behaving like destiny. Do you understand how terrifying that is? To watch someone play by no known rules, walk through traps that were mathematically guaranteed to work, outmaneuver people who studied you, decode patterns you were never supposed to see, and then smile like you knew the whole time. You're not unstoppable because you're strong. You're unstoppable because you're impossible. Your existence breaks logic, and that's why the prophecy folded. Let's talk about that prophecy for a moment. Not the soft, poetic ones. No, I mean the old ones, the ancient ones, the ones written by people who didn't use ink. They used visions, blood, hallucinations, and the kind of nightmares that turn into scripture. Those prophecies, they rely on patterns, on echoes, on cycles. But you're a crack in the cycle, a disruption, a misfire in the cosmic system. A reminder that evolution doesn't always follow rules. Sometimes it mutates in the dark. Prophecies can't handle mutations. They can only track repetition, and you don't repeat. That's why you terrify them. You break the illusion of safety. You destroy predictability. You force the world to confront a truth it hates. You can't defend against what you can't define. Tell me, Do you know what fear tastes like? Not your fear. Theirs. It tastes like that silence right after you walk away. That heavy, suffocating hush where they look at each other and whisper, "What? What are they?" Oh, they'll dress it up with fancy words. Talented, rare, gifted, unpredictable. But those are just polite synonyms for the truth. They've never seen anything like you, because your evolution doesn't climb upward. It spreads outward, like expanding wings made of contradictions. You are light with a shadow's intentions. You are darkness with a saint's precision. You are the hero when it serves, and the villain when it's required. A duality no prophecy can calculate, a paradox too sharp to hold. Let me tell you the real reason no one could stop you. Because deep down, in the marrow of their fear, they understood something they never admitted out loud. Stopping you would mean understanding you, and understanding you would mean becoming you, and becoming you would break them. You know how rare that is? To be someone whose mind is so dangerous that even decoding it could shatter reality for whoever tries. They didn't fail to stop you. They refused. Self-preservation. Simple as that. Because standing in your way means being erased by the very evolution you embody. And now? Haha. Now you stand here, looking at a world that doesn't know what to do with you. They can't challenge you. You've outgrown their weapons. They can't contain you. You don't fit in their structures. They can't predict you. You break every model. They can't ignore you. Your existence bends the room. So what do? They watch, they whisper, they calculate, they panic, and they hope that whatever you become next doesn't rewrite their entire reality. But you will. You always do. That's your nature, a phenomenon disguised as a person, a prophecy breaker with no leash, a force that grows under pressure and evolves under threat. So I'll ask it one last time, with the weight of every timeline you've already shattered. Who the fuck was ever supposed to stop you? Because the answer, the one they're too scared to say out loud, is simple. No one. Not then, not now, not ever. You're still here. Good. I wanted you to stay for this part. The part no one ever tells the monster, the miracle, the myth in the making. Lean in, because the deeper we go, the less this becomes a speech, and the more it becomes a diagnosis of why you were never meant to be stopped in the first place. Let's dig into something you've ignored your whole life. Your pattern of destruction, not the destruction you caused. No. The destruction you survived, every collapse, every betrayal, every night your chest caved in, and you had to hold yourself together with nothing but breath and instinct. Every time you walked alone into a room that wanted you banned, erased, or broken. Every time you lost something you couldn't replace. You didn't bounce back. You built forward. That's the difference. That's the secret. Most people recover. They return to normal. They rebuild what they had. But you don't restore yourself, you upgrade. And that right there, that microscopic, invisible mechanism inside your soul, is what made every force that tried to stop you feel like they were fighting a goddamn algorithm instead of a person. Because every time you bleed, you come back with a new feature. Every time you fall, you return with a new instinct. Every time someone tries to break you, you evolve into a version immune to that attack. You don't just survive events, you integrate them, like a machine made of trauma and brilliance, coding itself into something sharper every single time. Do you know how horrifying that is? To go after someone, hurt them, blindside them, and then watch them rise with eyes that say, "That wasn't enough." try harder. That's when they realized something. You weren't growing. You were adapting beyond recognition, adapting faster than anyone could predict. And that's when the prophecy cracked, because prophecies rely on patterns. But you shift the pattern every time pain touches you. You know what that means. It means pain, your enemy's favorite weapon. Stopped working, it means betrayal, your biggest setback, became your jet fuel. It means fear, your shadow, turned into your compass. They armed themselves with the weapons that destroy everyone else. They aimed them at you and watched in absolute slow-motion horror as you absorbed their attacks and turned them into your evolution. You didn't just survive the fire, you became something the fire fears. Let me make this clear. They didn't just fail to stop you. They cursed themselves by trying, because every attempt they made added a new layer to you, a new resilience, a new level of unpredictability, a new version of you that they now have to face. You became a nightmare in installments, a prophecy they couldn't finish writing, a threat that updates itself in real time. And the most chilling part? You didn't plan this. You didn't study this. You didn't push for this. This is just what you are. Do you know how rare that is? To be born with a mind and soul that interpret adversity as data. Most people break. Some people bend. A few get stronger. But you transform. That's why stopping you was never an option. You're not a creature of stability. You're a creature of ascension. Every pain refined you. Every doubt sculpted you. Every loss became a blueprint. You didn't read the prophecy, you rewrote the genre. And now they look at you with that trembling mix of fascination and fear. Because suddenly, it's obvious. You weren't meant to be the hero. You weren't meant to be the villain. You weren't meant to be the chosen one. You were meant to be the anomaly that collapses the entire system. That's why no one could stop you. Not because you were stronger, but because you were something else entirely. You move like a paradox. You think like a ghost. You strike like a consequence. You evolve like a threat. You endure like a prophecy that outgrew its own destiny. And every single person who tried to challenge you had to learn the same lesson. You cannot kill what reincarnates mid-blow. So I'll say it again, not as a question this time, but as a verdict. No one on this planet was ever built strong enough, smart enough, brutal enough, or divine enough to stop you. Because you are not in their league. You are not in their timeline. You are not in their dimension. You are the fracture in reality that swallowed its own limits and smiled. Now go on. Keep becoming something they can't predict. Keep evolving beyond comprehension. Keep proving why the prophecy had no choice but to give up. Because your story isn't about being unstoppable. Your story is about being inevitable. You're still standing there, breathing like a storm that hasn't decided who it's going to erase next good. Because the deeper we go, the closer we get to the part no one has ever dared to say to your face. Let's peel the last layer off this creature you've become. You want to know the real horror of you? The thing even your enemies whisper about when they think you're out of earshot? It's not your strength. It's not your intelligence. It's not your instincts. It's your refusal to die in the same shape twice. Every downfall gave you a new contour. Every setback rewired your architecture. Every heartbreak sharpened a part of you nobody even knew existed. You're not a person recovering from trauma. You're a system recalibrating itself. You don't heal. You rebuild. And that rebuild is always more dangerous than what came before. Most people break once. Some break twice. A rare few break many times. But you break and break and break. And each fracture becomes a doorway to a version of you that terrifies the original. Your evolution isn't linear. It's geometric, exponential, chaotic, divine. And that, right there, is why the prophecy cracked. It wasn't written for someone like you. It wasn't designed to map a being that evolves in the middle of the war. Prophecies can predict cycles. They can track patterns. They can calculate destinies, but they can't contain an organism that adapts faster than fate can respond. See, the prophecy was supposed to be the ultimate safeguard, a cosmic blueprint of what should happen, a script every soul unconsciously follows. But when it tried to place you in its path, something went wrong. Your trajectory didn't match the expected outcome. Your reactions didn't align with ancient logic. Your pain didn't produce the predicted collapse. Your failures didn't lead to the forecasted surrender. Instead, your pain turned into hunger. Your heartbreak turned into accuracy. Your losses turned into strategy. Your confusion turned into vision. Your darkness turned into propulsion. You didn't follow the prophecy. You absorbed it, digested it, broke its spine, and turned it into fuel. How do you stop someone who weaponizes their wounds? How do you corner someone who grows new exits mid-attack? How do you predict someone who mutates while you observe them? How do you defeat someone who becomes a different species every time they touch rock bottom? You don't. You can't. Not because they lacked strength, but because you lacked limitations. That's the thing they could never compute. You aren't limited to any fixed identity. You're not anchored to a single self. You're not trapped inside your old story. You reinvent yourself with the same casual eyes that most people have when they blink. You don't rise from the ashes. You consume them and burn hotter. Do you understand what that means? Your enemies weren't fighting you. They were fighting every version of you that ever suffered, ever learned, ever transformed, ever sharpened itself on the blade of experience. They were fighting your past, your potential, your possibilities, your shadows, your ghosts, your future selves, all at once. Who the fuck could stop that? A human? A rival? An ex? A hater? A system? A prophecy? None of them stood a chance, because they were fighting one version of you, while you were fighting with an army of your own evolutions behind your eyes. And now they're terrified. Terrified because they don't know what the next version of you will be. Terrified because you survive things that should end you. Terrified because every wound is a chrysalis. Terrified because you're not just a threat. You're a pattern-breaking event. Let me tell you something raw. If the prophecy had teeth, you broke them. If it had walls, you climbed through them. If it had warnings, you ignored them. If it had a destiny prepared for you, you outgrew it. The prophecy didn't surrender because it was weak. It surrendered because it was outclassed. You became something it couldn't categorize, something it couldn't predict, something it couldn't limit, something outside of fate's jurisdiction. Do you hear that? That quiet, that trembling silence. That's the sound of the prophecy stepping aside so you can walk through, because you're not prophecy-bound, you're prophecy-immune. And the world is beginning to understand the one truth you've carried in your bones, long before you had language for it. You weren't created to follow destiny. You were created to replace it. So tell me, with all the versions of you standing behind your shoulders, with all the evolution carved into your spine, with all the fire you swallowed and turned into oxygen, who the fuck was ever supposed to stop you? No one. Not in this universe. Not in the next. Not even in the ones that haven't been written yet. You are the beginning of the prophecy now. and everything else is forced to adapt.